As an attendee in listen-only mode.
Be from Joseph Silney. So by now you must be feeling overwhelmed by so many emails from Avant. And please be patient with us. It is just that you're at the point in your journey with Avant where you're being introduced to the NCLEX program and at the same time being asked to fulfill some documents. So please just really pay attention to those emails. From by now you should have been also assigned a licensure coordinator who's sending you emails about, hey, print this document and send this to your college, and this one to your secondary or high school, and this one to your council, so that you get your high school diploma, you get your transcript of records validated, you get your license verified. So those are the three ingredients that CGFNS or Joseph Silney will look for so that you will get this CES report. This CES report is the document that will tell the Board of Nursing that your education is equivalent to that of a U.S. nursing graduate. Okay, so please also pay attention to completing these documents at the same time beginning your study. Okay, your procurement of your documents should not be a reason of delaying your study. Is that understood? I want to be very clear about that. Okay, if you have any questions about your documents, your licensure team takes care of that, and I highly encourage that you attend at least one of their open forums. I believe they do this every other Tuesday, and they are there just waiting for you to bring your questions if you have any about your documents. Okay? All right. And then later on, towards maybe the sixth, seventh month of your study, of your preparation, you will get to meet our travel team. Our travel team will handle travel arrangements for your NCLEX exam. So you go through a process, right? And this will be discussed later in more detail by your individual instructors. Today, we are just going to kind of like cover the basics, just the icing on the cake. To dive deeper into that, your instructors will give you more information, but the travel team will handle your travel arrangements when you get to the point that we say, okay, you're now ready to be scheduled. And so if you meet the requirements to be booked your flight, our travel team will receive the budget approval from our leaders, and then they will then book your your air flights. They will book your hotel stay. They will arrange for transportation to pick you up from the hotel, from the airport to the hotel where we will book you in, and back to the airport. So everything will be taken care of by Avant. Okay, you will be receiving your travel itinerary from them when that time comes. Any question for me at this point? Okay, maybe nothing. If you're typing, I will still see it, but let me move forward. Okay, so just to give you a quick overview of Avant. Right? You are in the right place. And I'm saying that not because I work for Avant, but it is because I am an international nurse myself. I was once like you guys. I started, as a nurse in the Philippines. And back then, during my time, Avant was not yet in existence. And I feel jealous, like, seeing what Avant does for you. I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish my agency also did what Avant is doing for you. But anyway, you are in the right place. Avant has effectively supported international nurses, their integration into the healthcare across the United States. We are the leader in the international staffing industry, and we take pride in our wonderful staff and our unique culture. Okay, so our goal is to change lives for our nurses. That is to help you realize your American dream. I had a quick question from Nicolin. Would we have to pay for the ticket and hotel stay? The answer is no. That will be part of your commitment back to us. So as when you began the program, you had a contract, right, that details your number of hours that you have to pay us back for, and this includes coverage for the ticket and the hotel stay. So there's really not gonna be anything out of pocket from you. Okay, all right. I hope it answered your question, Nicolene. Yes, for fingerprinting and doing your documents, that will be your responsibility, Griffin. We do not cover those expenses to get those documents. Is it a full accommodation? Do one choose where they want to do their exams? Like in Kenya, can choose India. So Leah, good question. When that time comes, our priority for our nurses in the East African countries is Johannesburg, South Africa. However, Johannesburg, just like Manila, Philippines, their seats taken very, very quickly. And so we won't wait. When we feel that you're ready, we will find you an exam site. So if that time comes and there's nothing in Johannesburg, then our next priority will be India. Okay. And so it's a case by case basis, but no, you do not choose where we will test you. And we have a specific hotel of our choice where you stay, because our goal is to book you in a hotel that is a walking distance to the testing center. Okay. Green card processing happens or begins after you pass NCLEX. So that will be another milestone in your journey with Avant, Motini, and that will be handled I don't have the details as to that, but I do know that there is some money involved in that from your end, but you will be given guidance when that time comes. Great questions. Okay, so if I reside in Manila, there will be a chance that I get to test elsewhere if the slots are full. Yes, Tedlin. Unfortunately, Manila also fills up very, very quickly. So we have sent Filipino nurses residing in the Philippines to either Taiwan or Hong Kong. So those are our other options for them. And those, if there's anyone here who are in the Middle East, if you're Filipino, we would of course hope to be able to book you in the Philippines. But again, if not, it will either be Brazil or India. Okay, so we have many different testers. And for those in the United Kingdom, the good news is there's London for you. Jamaica, Diana, you will be required to have a US visitor visa, because we would love for you to take your exam here in Orlando. Okay, all right. So then the Ghana, again, like I said, for our countries in in Africa, our goal is to test your priorities to send you to South Africa, Emmanuel. But if the slots are all taken, then most likely India is the second choice. Okay. So right now, in this journey, it's a long process, right? Usually takes about a year from passing your NCLEX to actually come to the US. So it takes time and commitment from you. But at this point in your journey, our NCLEX team, the one I introduced to you earlier, we are your key partner at this point. And we tapped on Nurse Achieve. They are an NCLEX review platform. We partnered with them so that is where all your review material is going to come from. Your sessions with us are pretty much instructor guided, but we guide you as to, okay, what modules to complete, when they need to be completed, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, but it is really on you, okay? You are the ones that will drive this. The expectation is that you will test. We are ready to test during that test month that we assigned you. Like on your study schedule, there's a test month that we wrote there, and that's our goal, to test you during that test month, okay? Another question from Shanae. What if you're from Jamaica but do not have a US visa? Do you guys help us get that visa to test in the US? It will be on you, and you will get instructions, Shanae, from your licensure team about that. We do not, take care of getting visas, like, for example, getting visas to go to South Africa or to go to Brazil, to go to the Philippines, like those will be shouldered by you. Um, Will we get compact license? So it really depends on where your board, or what board of nursing you'll be assigned. But if anything, yes, we will find reciprocity, so that if once you pass NCLEX and you got it from a state that is not where you're going to work, we will take care of that for you. Okay. So I cannot memorize which states have compact licenses nowadays, but I'm pretty sure Illinois is one of them. Okay, alrighty. So we will quickly talk, or not really quickly, this is the focus today, I will share with you what are the key ingredients to be successful in this NCLEX program. So I've listed them here. Number one is, first of all, we have to understand this NCLEX exam. Okay, so we'll talk about that. It is also very important that you maintain good communication with us. We do not have the luxury of face-to-face review sessions, so we are very dependent on communicating with you. So it is an expectation that you maintain that communication as a two-way thing, okay? We expect that you attend webinars weekly. We will dive into that shortly. That you know how to manage your time and study effectively, and that you are aware of the available support from your instructor. So let me begin with the NCLEX exam. So for the benefit, of you who are just joining the program, we do not offer recordings of our webinars to date, but John, we are working on recording this and hopefully having this available by April 7th. So, but for this current webinar that I'm doing, this is not recorded, unfortunately. Okay, but you can always listen to a different version of this to be recorded by a colleague of mine, and you can refer back to that once it is available. Okay, but I'll talk about that when we get to webinars in a little bit. Okay, so so many a times nurses are not successful on their first attempt at NCLEX because they didn't get to understand how different of an exam it is. They had depended so much and regretted it that their experienced nurses, oh, I've been a nurse for 10 years. I work in the ICU. I work in the ER for 8 years. I'm the charge nurse. I'm the preceptor, and so on and so forth. And they, depend on that knowledge for taking the NCLEX. And so they didn't really do a lot of study. They just really are confident that, oh, I'm already a registered nurse in my country. What is that about NCLEX that I can't, pass it, right? So here I really want to be very transparent with you. And I'm not boasting that, oh, I already passed NCLEX, so I'm better than everyone. No, I just really want you to understand that NCLEX is set in such a different manner as compared to most board exams across the globe. For most countries, when they give board exams, they determine pass or fail based on scores, right? So that's why I remember in the Philippines, we would have top notchers, like whoever scored the highest will be top 1, top 2 would be the second highest for that group of nurses who took their exam, because it is given a score. But on the NCLEX, it is not done that way. NCLEX is set so that your decision of having passed it or failed it is based on how well you have answered or correctly answered the higher difficulty level questions. It is not about you know, how many questions you answered correctly. So in other words, in NCLEX, even though you answered a lot of questions correctly, if you were only able to answer the easy questions, it does not necessarily mean that you will pass it. Okay, so the way that the National Council of State Boards of Nursing, or NCSBN, they are the creators, the writers of NCLEX questions. The way they write their questions is based on Bloom's taxonomy. This little pyramid that I have here on the right of your screen. So according to NCSBN, the higher difficulty level questions that they write are on the middle category of the learning objectives. The higher difficulty level questions are more on the application of your knowledge and the analysis of situations or scenarios. There are questions that are simple recall, or, you know, simple, how do you call this, evaluation of what you know of a certain topic, but those are considered lower level category questions, right? So on the NCLEX, it is really more of like having you, or measuring your ability to apply what you know. So for example, in most board exams across the globe, you may have a question as direct as, which of the following lab values is or denotes hypokalemia? And you're like, okay, I know that potassium's normal level is 3.5 to 5. So then you will then look for something, some value there that's less than 3.5, right? And you'll get the answer correctly, very direct. On the NCLEX, it will be somewhat more challenging. Your question may sound like, you are taking care of a client with a potassium of 3.2. During your initial assessment, which of the following signs and symptoms will you most likely see? And so now you're like, okay, let me first start with, what is a K of 3.2? Oh, that's hypokalemia. All right, what does hypokalemia do to the body, right? And then you get to, that is now what you call application of your knowledge. And so this is the reason why here at Avant, here in our team, we are very particular about preparing well for your exam. I would say, I respect that you are an experienced nurse, that you work in, you know, ICU, OR, ER, in special units, right? But please do not just depend on what you know. NCLEX has so much to look for that you cannot just bank on what you are currently an expert on, right? I had a nurse who challenged me one time and said, I'm ready for it. I've been an ICU nurse for 12 years. And I said, I understand that, and I thank you for your service. But remember that NCLEX may give you questions about public health. It may ask you about questions on vaccinations and when a child should get the varicella vaccine, and then so on and so forth. It may ask you about fetal heart rate decelerations, which I don't think you're familiar with anymore working as an ICU nurse. And he said, oh, I would still remember that. And so I said, okay, let's do a mock exam. And so he did a mock exam and he failed, and he said, thank you so much, Aglo. You know, it was a very humbling moment, as well as an eye opener for me, that I really have to pause and just start from the basics. And that is really what is important here. Okay, preparation, correct preparation is key. Everyone committed to that? Okay. Again, the second ingredient is communication. We communicate with you, and again, because of not having that luxury of face-to-face sessions with you, we rely heavily on emails. So if it's not already your habit, please make sure that you are checking your emails every day. And you already have the email address of your instructor, right? Hopefully you do. Please add us to your contact list, to your address list, or whatever it's that is called, right? Add us there so that our emails won't go to the trash folder or spam or junk, wherever it should not go, so that our emails will go directly to your inbox, okay? Okay, we may call you too. So we have your phone numbers on file. So if you do have changes in your phone numbers that is different from the original one that you provided, Avant, please email us so that we can update your file. Remember that most of our communications with you are time sensitive. It asks that you will respond to us by a certain date. And if we do not hear from you, we will mark it as being non-compliant. Okay, so please, be aware that we do send you emails a lot of times. Are you okay with immediate communication via WhatsApp? Nicolene, it depends for each instructor. And like again, we'll talk about the first session that you must attend with your instructor. You can ask that. As for my team, I am okay with it, but you should also understand that on the weekends and on the holidays, we do not attend to our emails or our WhatsApp, accounts uh, to give us the breaks that we need as well. Okay, so it's a case by case basis, it's an instructor based preference. Okay, so what is it that we need to know from you? Okay, so key things, my women nurses out there, if you are pregnant, so like for example, you began the program and you didn't know you were pregnant, or you were not pregnant, right? And then like maybe 2 3 months in, you realized, oh, I tested positive. Please don't hide that from us. Okay, it's not that we're nosy. No, we just really want to know, because pregnancy can really significantly affect your progress. And I'm not saying we will drop you from the program because you get pregnant. Absolutely not. It will not be a reason for Avant to turn you away. We need to know if you're pregnant, because there's a certain restriction, among flights, that at certain point in a pregnancy, you will not be allowed to board planes anymore. For most airlines, it is like after 32 weeks of pregnancy. So if we do not know, and this has happened several times in the past, we had no idea that the nurse is pregnant, right? And now the instructor has said, wow, this nurse is really doing well in her scores. We're ready to test her. And so we found a schedule. We booked, or we were ready to book a flight. And then the nurse said, oh, you know what? I don't think I can fly because I'm due in 2 weeks. And we will all just like shake our heads and say, how have we not known this all along? So that's really the reason why you please let us know. Another thing, change in employment. And I'm not trying to, be nitpicky, but this has been very common among our nurses in, Ghana and Kenya. They would relocate to the United Kingdom without letting us know. So please, guys, it is not wrong that you relocate to the United Kingdom, but please, be courteous enough to advise Avant, because remember, when you got recruited to Avant, we base it on your current, experience, where you're at, right, in the ICU. So we need to know. We will then, once you relocate, or before you even relocate, we would send you a job update. Like, okay, so if you're relocating, what unit will you be working in? So in, preparation of finding you the most appropriate employer when you come to the US, it will now be based on, your current experience, right? Your most recent experience. So that is the reason that we'd want to know. And of course, arranging for your exam. 2 weeks ago, I had a nurse who all the while I thought was in Ghana. And then when we said, okay, we're ready to arrange your exam, let us know what your closest airport is. And then she said, oh, I'm already in the United Kingdom, so I just need a train ride. And we were like, okay, well, we're not going to schedule your exam yet because we don't even know where you work anymore, if this is still an institution that matches our criteria. So long story short, please do not hide that information from us. Okay, all right. And then illnesses that will prevent you from meeting your deadlines on time, not illnesses, not just affecting you, but maybe your family. So anything significant that will prevent you from completing your assignments based on your study schedule, please let us know. Okay. All right. And your instructor will be your point of contact for those things. If we do not hear from you and we've been reaching out and no response from you, we will label it as you're no longer interested, you're no longer committed. And guess what? There are many other nurses who are so jealous of where you are right now. They are queuing, and we will give up your spot for these nurses who may be more committed, right? So, you know, if you are not interested anymore, let us know as well, so we can give your spot up for someone else in queue. Okay, another ingredient to your success in this NCLEX program is to know your learning styles. If you're normal, like 98% of us adults, that we learn best by hearing and by reading, so we are audio visual learners, then perfect. You don't have to really do anything extra, because Nurse Achieve, which is our NCLEX review platform, will provide you, the means to the reading part, the visual part of your preparation, and our webinars will provide you with the audio part of it. So 1 + 1 equals your success on the NCLEX, okay? But if you're kind of like the kinesthetic, that you learn by doing, by role playing, then we'll have to do something about that. Maybe while doing a treadmill, you will get to remember some concepts, so that every time you're on the treadmill, you remember that. I don't know how that's going to be done, but it will be something that you'll have to discuss one-on-one with an instructor to identify what would be best if you're not an audiovisual learner like most adults are. Okay? All right. And then your commitment to study. I would say really this should have come first, but we really need your commitment. Again, looking back to when you interviewed for Avant, when you got to the recruitment questions, you committed. You got chosen because one of the questions that we ask is, are you able to study for at least 5 times a week? And guess what you answered? Yes, right? And so NCLEX will now really ask you to prove that to us. We ask that you will be studying actually every day. And by every day, I don't mean the whole day of every day, but if you can commit to at least 1 to 2 hours of study every day, and I won't dictate when in your day that will happen. For some, it's best before going to work. For others, after returning from work. As long as you commit to that and stick to it, you have that key ingredient to success. Many nurses who have been terminated by Avant from the program are those nurses who only waited for their day off to study. And the result was that they were not able to finish their modules on the expected time. And so we're like, you know what? You're taking too long, my friend. Maybe this program is not for you. We'll do it. If you're the type who want to do it on your own, then do it on your own. And then when you pass NCLEX and you'd want Avant to be your partner for the immigration process, then come back to us. But if you want us to guide you from NCLEX preparation all the way, then we need your commitment to study at least 12 to 14 hours every week. Any questions on that? So, okay, so if you're still typing a question, continue and I will just go on, all right? So here are the key things. You should already have received your, study schedule, the study plan in that welcome email. Yes, it was sent as an attachment to your welcome email. So I need a few volunteers here to tell me that, they are sorry, Leia, I believe I missed your earlier question. No, payments for documents and IELTS are on your own. They're not part of the contract. Okay. All right. So does everyone then, is the silence a yes for yes, I have my my study plan? I want to ask, yes, yes, Nadar. Okay, Chantal, perfect. Because many a times nurses also are not aware that they have a study schedule to follow. And yet again, it is because they read the welcome email on a cell phone, and their cell phone didn't have the capability of downloading attachments. So if you're listening to me right now and you have no idea what I'm talking about, you're like, what is that study plan? Please read that welcome email again, but this time, if you were using a phone before, use a laptop this time, or your desktop. Okay, who uses a desktop? Maybe none of you anymore, right? But anyway, use a device that's capable of downloading attachments, because your study plan was sent as an attachment to that welcome email. So you notice that the study plan gives you 14 days to complete each module, right? Except for like case study quizzes and mock exams, there's only a week to do them, right? Because they're pretty much kind of like a consolidation of what you've already studied. But our advice is that you create a calendar with a 13-day study plan, right? What am I going to study every day? Use this 1 to 2 hours that I dedicate, right? And on the 14th day is when you do your exam, okay? Look at Nurse Achieve. Look what topics there are. Divide them over the 13 days. We'll talk about, self-generated quizzes in the next slide. Reinforce your study, right? Many nurses say, Aglo, is Nurse Achieve enough for me? And my answer to that is yes, for as long as you make the most of what Nurse Achieve has to offer. Okay, they have a lot of supplements there for you. They have like summary sheets. They have many thousands of practice questions, right? So if you take advantage of those and read the rationales after you take a quiz, then you have enough. But if you feel like, no, I really want a book, okay, you can purchase a book if you'd want to. Your choice. Some nurses have Saunders, others have Lippincott, others Mosby's. It's up to you. Or others have UWorld or Archer. But I really advise against having too many, because nurses who tend to jump from one resource to another have not been successful in their exam. It's kind of like taking little bites of something and then you're not full, like it causes you indigestion because you had too many kinds. So I would rather have you focus on one or two in addition to Nurse Achieve, and I would say you'll have more than enough. Even still, I would say you don't have to purchase anything. Like if you have Nurse Achieve, you get the most out of what it offers, and you supplement it with free videos on YouTube, like Sarah on registerednursern.com. She has a free channel. Maybe Nurse Mike on Simple Nursing. You have Mark Klemek. There are several people, who have NCLEX preparation videos that are free on YouTube. You can have them as your supplements. And then, of course, our webinars will be very helpful for you as well. Okay, so on your study schedule, you have, several exams there that are listed. And the module quizzes, the adaptive mock exam, and the NGN case study quiz are the ones that are required by us. It's very specific there on your study schedule when you complete each exam. Self-generated quizzes are the questions that are on the QBank tab on your dashboard. And so many nurses have told us that doing practice quizzes from the QBank before actually taking the module quiz have helped them achieve good scores. And that is true. I'm going to be very transparent. The module quiz questions, most of them were taken from this QBank. However, I want you to be very careful. And maybe you've heard this in one of the webinars that we have. Some nurses played smart or thought that they were smart, right? So late last year, we had a group of nurses and they had awesome, excellent module quiz scores. They scored 90s on their exam. And so we make decisions on your readiness for NCLEX based on your module scores, right? That we don't know you. We don't know how intelligent you are, right? So our way of knowing if you're ready for your NCLEX is based on your module scores. And so, of course, when these nurses, at least for my group, I had 5 of them, when they were scoring in the 90s from module 1 all the way to 10, what was my reason for keeping them from testing, right? So, of course, I was so excited, went to my boss and say, hey, let's schedule this nurse. Look, la, 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 right? And so they both agreed. Justin and Ansur, yes, we will mark this nurse ready to schedule. And so they went to test. Long story short, went to test. I was so looking forward to a pass when they got their results. But all 5 of them failed. I was shocked. I was like, oh my goodness, what happened? So I called them. Like everyone in our team was like in shock, they in disbelief, like how? Like they were so good, right? La la la. So I called them and then the theme came up. We were not aware that some nurses decided to stop reading the modules, just do practice quizzes because you're going to see those questions again anyway on the module quiz. That's how they got the excellent module quiz scores. And then they had their moments of regret. They said, yeah, the topics on the quizzes were on the NCLEX, but the questions were asked so differently. We wished we read more. We wished we attended the webinars. Maybe they were taken or discussed during that time, right? So please avoid just making your preparation all about doing self-generated quizzes. Antonella, hang in there. I will show you Nurse Achieve in a little bit, and I'll walk everyone through completing self-generated quizzes and accessing those required exams, okay? All right. So just listen that I want to share with everybody, okay? So we have several test-taking strategies for you, ranging from the 6 steps to question success, to delegation concepts, to prioritization strategies. We have them all for you recorded on your NCLEX Coaching Clinic series, and they are on the platform called Avant Learn Upon system, right? So on the day you received your welcome email, you should also have received the invitation to learn upon. So say yes to me if you did, or that you were able to access it and you have begun listening to this recorded webinars. Thank you, Teresa, Danielle, Antonella, Tedlin. Oh, so you guys are so awesome. Okay. Again, for those of you who are quiet and you're like, what is it that she's talking about? So on we have what we call an NCLEX coaching clinic series that is a collection of 10 to 12 recordings, webinar recordings that teaches you about test taking strategies. And these are all, this coaching clinic series is loaded on the platform of Avant called Learn Upon. So on the day you received your welcome email, there should also have been an invitation, a separate email that you got. It's coming from Learn Upon, and it gives you like, you know, the link to it, and then you create your password and so on. So Awesome. Diana, if you were not able to do that, again, for some, emails, that link or that may have gone to your spam folder. Check it there. If you still have not got it, please reach out to your instructor so we can check it for you. Okay? All right. So 6 steps will be there: time management, understanding NCLEX test plan, and many others. And the beautiful thing about it is that you can listen to it at your convenience because they are recordings, and you can listen to them as many times as you wish. Okay, all right. So NGN that launches in a few days. Can you believe it? It will be April soon, and April 1, NCSBN will launch, whether we like it or not, the NGN NCLEX. And the NGN NCLEX is really based on the clinical judgment model, which is based on the nursing process. So NGN will be a different type of NCLEX. It will now involve case studies and many other different types of test items. So next week, we will have a webinar on introduction to NGN. So I invite you to listen to that so you will have a better capture of what NGN is all about. Okay. Then webinars. Let's talk about the webinars. So currently we have live webinars and recorded webinars. So live webinars are sort of what I'm doing right now, that an instructor is actually talking to you live, real time, answering your questions and doing the discussion. The recorded are the ones that I'm describing, are available on LearnUpon. So there are 2 types of live webinars. One is the content clinic, which covers the body system. So there's a discussion on neuro, cardio, respiratory, hepatology, pharmacology, and so on. On April 7th, hopefully, that is our goal, we will now have all of these available as recordings. And that is based on your feedback or nurses' feedback, those nurses prior to you. They say those webinars have really been helpful, but we missed some because we were at work. So we decided, you know what, we'll record this and have this available for our nurses, again, on LearnUpon, so that you can listen to it as many times as you wish, whenever you wish, and you can even pair it with, okay, module 1, I'm studying pharmacology, let me listen to the pharmacology webinar, right? So we are very excited about it, and we hope that, John, I like the yes. So we hope that it will be, more consistent with how you study. So again, it is very important that you have access to LearnUpon, because once it's available there, if you don't know what your access is and you're not saying anything, you won't be able to take advantage of these webinars, okay? All right, so we have divided the topics. Some I've recorded, others Susan, others Susie, others Jeremy, Megan, Erica. So you'll have a combination of the way instructors teach, right? And learn from it. And we're just very excited that this is the best route for you guys. Okay. The question clinics, which is the other type of live webinars, will continue to be offered to you live, real time, okay? And this is because during question clinics, we really, would love for you to answer questions with us. Like, okay, how do we approach this? What's our strategy here? What is really the question being asked? How did we miss this? Or why did we answer this correctly? So we feel that those done live are still a better approach than recording them. Okay, so question clinics will remain to be live webs. Again, LearnUpon. If you don't have your access yet, speak up, reach out to your instructor, okay? It will look like this when you access it. Currently, if you have it, you will see that it will have the NCLEX Coaching Clinic series already enrolled for you. Okay? Now, I promised you instructor support as the last ingredient to your success, right? And yes, every instructor, each of us have worked so hard to prepare supplements for you, to coach you to higher module score grades, to coach you to more knowledge accumulation so that you are ready to prepare to pass NCLEX. So on your welcome emails, we provided you with our Calendly links, right? And if you lost it, here it is again. You can take a screenshot of that. Mine is calendly.com, so just click on those links and you will see the available sessions that the instructor has. Some of us do test taking strategies, others open forums, others one-on-one calls, pre-NCLEX webinars, a variety of them. But if you're just starting, the very first one that you'll have to do is the initial group session, or others call it group one session, others call it getting started with study session. You have to really attend that to get more details into how to understand your status in the program. When is it that you'll be marked ready for your ATT? When is it? What scores will get us to mark you ready for scheduling? What if you're not meeting scores? What if you're not attending webinars? So all of those we will dive deeper into during this getting started to study. Okay, so please, if you haven't done yet, click on that Calendly link sent to you by the instructor and attend the initial session. Are these strategies made towards the new form of the NCLEX? Actually, the new form of the NCLEX is not much different from the strategies that you'll use to the current form, Nicolene. The only difference is that there will be case studies now, and more of that, the case studies, our approach is, taught to you during our question clinics. But there will still be several standalone questions that the current, strategies recorded for you will help you to tackle those new items correctly. Okay. Now, when you sign up for a session with us, it will be done via Zoom. So pay attention. After you sign up, you will get something that looks like this, right? So make sure that you mark this, red flag it on your email so that on the day of your appointment, all you need to do is click it. Some nurses have that misconception that we will be calling them, but most of our sessions are done as groups, unless you sign up for a one-on-one. So please be aware that these are done via Zoom. If you haven't downloaded Zoom yet, it's free. You just download the app and you'll be good to go. Okay, it just really requires a stable internet connection, which, by the way, was one of our requirements for the program anyway. So yes, Zoom it is. Okay. All right. So again, your commitment and is very important. We will hold you accountable to be reading your emails daily, to be attending our sessions, meeting deadlines, be proactive, attending our webinars, completing any other requirements that you have. Okay. All right. Plans, they say, are only good intentions unless they immediately translate into hard work. We've received so many false promises from nurses. Oh, I'll complete it in 2 weeks. Oh, I will commit to becoming better. But we see nothing. And we get to a point where we're like, no, we've given you so many chances already. It's time to let go. And I really don't want to do that, but sometimes we are left with no choice. But we will do everything we can to really get you to achieve your American dream, okay? I will be logging into Nurse Achieve next, but before I do that, I will welcome any questions that you have. based on the topics that we covered. And so with that, I will stop showing my screen so I can prepare, you know, Nurse Achieve. No one has any questions? Wow, very good. I must have made things clear for you, huh? Okay, so now I'm gonna show you a different screen, and I'm sure you guys are all familiar with this. Right? This is your Nurse Achieve platform. So just to start off, before I even log in there, okay, Nurse Achieve is not Avant. Okay, Nurse Achieve is just like your Saunders or Archer or UWorld. They are their own company. But you know, when we decided to find a platform that will be best for our international nurses in preparing them for this new generation NCLEX, our leaders looked, you know, and compared every single platform available. And although Nurse Achieve was a little bit pricier, the support that they promised, you know, they would give our international nurses, and the way they're so receptive to our needs is what made us choose them. And we are also very convinced that they have the best platform simplified for you, because you're all working nurses, right? So you want just direct things. What do I need to remember? And Nurse Achieve has laid their platform in such manner. Okay. So everyone should already have access to Nurse Achieve. Yes. There should also be an email. Okay, Antonella said yes. Evelyn, Teresa, Tiffany, Emmanuel, perfect. Okay, so Diana, awesome. Okay, so my Nurse Achieve, you know, dashboard is pretty much the same as yours. There may be just a little difference because I have the instructor, you know, access, but your dashboard, which is what you will see when you log in, will pretty much, you know, show you the folders that you have. So let's begin with that, okay? All right. So let me have your focus first on the time that you have left. So when we purchase Nurse Achieve for you, you are given, or you have 360 days of access. So you're probably like, okay, well, why do I only have 7 months to prepare for NCLEX then? If I have a year. So some nurses didn't ask the question and they just assume, oh, I have one whole year. Please, no, you don't. Because, and I'm knocking on wood, knock on wood, you're not successful the first time, then you still have some cushion. You still have leftover access to use in case you get approved to go to the retest pathway. Make sense? So really think, although you have 360 days of access, your first attempt at NCLEX should happen in the first 7 months, okay? All right, then let's meet your dashboard. So on your dashboard, you should have your NGNRN. The number may be different for everybody because they keep updating their system. So some may have 05, others 04. It doesn't matter. The content is the same, okay? So you have NGN, and then you should have your interactive simulations. You should have your NGN case studies, and you know, and for some, these two are already embedded in the module quizzes. And then you'll have remediation and the client needs categories. Is that how yours look like? Okay. Now, what's interactive simulations? So interactive simulations are your opportunities to practice case studies. We do not require you to do every single one of them. There's plenty here. But if you feel like, okay, I want to do a case study on cardiac, you can go here and then, choose the different, case studies that they may have. And it's interactive. It actually walks you through and what you would need to do next or whatnot. Okay. Okay. So that's one. Then let me skip this one because this is the most important. Your module quizzes, this is where you're going to find your module quiz that you'll have to take after completing studying a module. Remediations, do not touch them until or unless instructed by your assigned instructor, okay? Remediations are to be done at a time when we have seen the pattern that no, it's not safe for you to keep going because your scores are not meeting standards. So wait for instructions from your Susie, Susan, or whoever your instructor is before you access the remediation folder. Same with client needs. Client needs happens later. Client needs is an all-comprehensive collection of exams, and we don't want you to be taking them now as you are still trying to refresh everything nursing in you, okay? So don't use these two folders yet, okay? Like I said, some of you may have a separate NGN case studies folder. For the newer ones, they may now be embedded in your module quizzes, okay? Then, the most important of all is your NGNRN. This is where you live. This is your lungs. This is your heart, right? So this is the essence of your platform. So when you click on that, it actually has everything that you'll need to study. Okay, everything that will require of you in your study plan. So by now, you should at least have already listened to the tutorial or watched the tutorial. And I also recommend that you take time to listen or look at the test strategies, okay? Now, on your study schedule, you have a specific list. Module 1, topics, pharmacology and med-surg. So that means that you will then be studying pharmacology and med-surg, okay? Well, which one do I start with first? Your choice is the answer, okay? If you want to start with the more difficult one first, which I think most of you will, then okay, pharma is more difficult. No argument on that, right? So start on pharma. Or if you want to get the easy one out first, then start with med-surg. Again, I will leave it to you to look into every module and see what contents they have, right? And how you would divide this over the days that you are given. 14 days. Remember, 14 days is not just for pharma, but pharma and med-surg. So that's why it's important to really divide the topics and commit to reading. If you say, I have to read 4 topics every day, so I'll be done in 14 days, then commit to reading 4 topics. Don't wait for when your day off comes, because that won't be enough, okay, to cover everything. It's extensive. All right. So you read, you read, you read. At the end of, on the 14th day, assuming you're already done, then you're ready to take your module quiz. So where is that? Back to your dashboard, you'll go to your module quiz. Okay, and please, it says module 1, pharma and med-surg. So click the right thing, okay? Because once you've clicked it, you're ready to take it. Some nurses like, oh my goodness, I didn't realize I clicked in endocrine and I started and it was asking me endocrine. Now you just wasted your endocrine exam. Okay, so please be careful, guys. It's like giving medication, so you have to really make sure you're giving it to the right patient first, right? Okay, so now you have 150 questions to every module quiz, and you have 5 hours to complete it. So simulate it like an NCLEX, right? Take breaks maybe after 2 hours, take a drink of water in about 40 minutes. So Dedicate 5 hours that's undistracted. Do not take it 1 hour before commuting to work or 1 hour after returning from work and you're so tired. Believe it or not, I had a nurse who emailed me, Aglo, I fell asleep while taking my exam. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Right? So please, guys, you are responsible nurses. I assume that you all are. So please be responsible when taking your exams, okay? The standard is to have a 75% score on this, okay? And same thing, when you finish module 2, you just go back to the module quiz and so on. Now, many nurses, like I had mentioned earlier, said that they did better on their module quiz scores when after studying all the content, they're also doing practice quizzes from the QBank. So to answer you, was that Nicolene earlier or Antonella? This is how you're going to do it. So on your dashboard, your lungs and your heart, you go to your QBank, all right? And when you scroll to the lower section, there's your question bank of standalone questions. There's your question bank of case studies. And then there's your question bank for bow tie. These three are your practice quizzes. So say you want to practice just standalone questions today, okay? Right. So let's say, okay, I studied pharmacology the past 2 nights. I want to practice some pharma questions. Sure, you will. Nurse Chief says, okay, select from a pool of questions. They have 3,083 questions. Wow. Yes. So then you're going to choose, okay, what topic? Oh, I want to be tested on pharma. Okay. Did you notice that when I clicked on that, every other subtopic related to pharma is checked? You can leave it checked if you don't care what subtopic on pharma you want to get to be asked. But if you're like, no, I am not ready for calculations, okay, then uncheck it. Oh, I haven't really read about diagnostics. Okay, don't do that. So that's why it's called self-generated. It's because you choose what topics you'd want to be asked. Make sense? All right. Let's say you're up to the challenge and you're just like, bring it on. You just want all topics checked. Okay. Then you're going to go to step 3. You choose your quiz parameters. So every practice exam has a maximum of 75 items, which is really a lot already. We recommend maybe doing 15 to 25 every day. Let's say today you're like, wow, I never really knew there are practice quizzes. I'm so excited after hearing that from Aglo. Let me do 30. Okay, you can do 30. Or, I was so tired listening to her. Let me just do 10. It's up to you. Okay. So then once you're all set, you generate the quiz. You leave this untimed, right? Do not check that because if you check it, it will only give you 1 minute per question. So if you have 10 items, it will only give you 10 minutes. Well, your practice quizzes are there for you to practice. So this will be an opportunity for you to not be stressed about time. Okay, so just leave it untimed. But if you also want to be challenged and you're like, okay, I want to answer 10 questions in 10 minutes, you timed it, right? Okay. So you generate the quiz. So once you click generate quiz, you are really telling Nurse Achieve, okay, build me a 10 item question based on the topics I selected. Make sense? And then there you go. You get 10 questions and then you have them there. At the end, you're going to take, to finish your exam. The key to every exam, again, I will sound like a broken record, is to read the rationales regardless whether you answer the question correctly or not. You have to read the rationale and take notes and build your notes. Okay, that's the secret to these practice quizzes. Any question to that on self-generated quizzes? No? All right. So let's say 2 days later, you're ready for another self-generated quiz. Some nurses do this every day, which is awesome, okay? But let's say you do it every 2 days. Okay, so let's say you want to do another exam the following, 2 days later. So you're gonna go to your standalone, okay? But then this time, you should already have seen 10 questions, right? You had seen 10 questions. So now you can select. You can be like, I only want questions that I have not seen, right? Later on, you may be flagging some questions. You will have incorrect questions. So there will be times and be like, I only want to select from everything that I answered incorrectly, so you can then build from it. Understood? Yes, no, maybe? Yes, okay, perfect. All right, awesome. And so now, with the bank of knowledge from reading the modules and from reading the rationals on your practice quizzes, you should be ready to have better scores on your module quiz. Okay, keep doing that. Module 1, Module 2, Module 3. After Module 3, you will see on your study schedule that you do your case study quiz. So again, for some of you, it will be under case studies. For the newer enrollees, it will already be embedded in your quiz as a case 3 quiz, post module 3 case study quiz. Okay. See, I'm old. I didn't have that. I didn't have that option then. It's really better now. All of your quizzes are listed in that folder. So what is covered on your post module 3 case study quiz, or your first case study, or your case study number 1? So it will be topics that were covered on modules 1, 2, and 3. Same thing with the post module 6, or your case study number 2. Only topics for 4, 5, and 6. And module 9, only topics for 7, 8, and 9. Cool? All right. Now, at some point too, like after your second case study, you will now attempt your first mock exam. Yay, right? Because we believe that modules 1 through 6 should have given you the mostly seen topics on the NCLEX. So although you may not have covered 7, 8, 9, and 10 yet, you should be safe to take your first mock exam. Okay, so when you do your mock exam, it is not found in any of the folders. Did you notice that? It's not here. It is located in your QBank, which is in your main folder, in your QBank. And if you scroll down there, there's your adaptive mock exam NGN-RN. So again, when you take that, it is you mimicking NCLEX. It is simulating NCLEX. So in other words, it can be from 85 questions all the way to 150 questions. It will have 3 case studies. It can have highlight questions, drag and drop. It can have bow tie questions, and so on. Okay, so just like NCLEX, it does not give you a grade. But the beautiful thing with Nurse Achieve is it gives you a descriptive grade of whether it is a pass, a fail, a slightly pass, or a solid pass. So our expectation or our standard is to see a pass or a solid pass, okay? Okay. Now, after you complete a mock exam, you will, find a graph. So you will also have to take a screenshot of that graph and send it our way. Okay? Now, other things that I'd want to cover is you can print the modules if you want, or if you just want summary sheets or flashcards, this are the same, just presented in a different way. Summary sheets, for example, they have a summary sheet on common arrhythmias. So you can click that. And if you want to print that, you can right click and then print. Okay. All right. So I had a question from Tedlin. The option adaptive mock exam CAT engine, is that the option for all adaptive mock exams 1, 2, and 3? So adaptive mock exams currently are 1 and 2 only. Later on, you will have as many adaptive mock exams once you're done with module 10. But yes, it is the NGN-RN. The case study quizzes are different. The case study quiz are 1, 2, and 3, or post-module 3, post-module 6, and post-module 9. Effective April 1, there will only be one type of mock exam. Only they will take away the old NCLEX RN. You will only see that one anyway, Tedlin. So that will be your only mock exam, okay? All right. And that pretty much summarizes, you're welcome, everything that I'd want to share with you today on our introduction to Nurse Achieve Orientation to NCLEX webinar. I hope that I was able to clarify any questions that you may have. I was able to, really set the pace for you, set the stage, so to speak, so you now know what is expected moving forward. Okay, I still have a few minutes. I'm going to be teaching the question clinic in about 15 minutes, but if you still have any questions there, type them up. I'm here. You're welcome, Teresa. I'm gonna stop showing my screen maybe. Oh, you're welcome, Antonella. I'm glad that, you found this helpful. Because trust me, I know it. When we started with Nurse Achieve, I was lost. I'm like, what are they talking about? But after having seen it a couple of times, and you'll be like, oh, I know what they're talking about. Okay. All right. You're welcome, Chantal and Evelyn. Perfect. Okay. If you do have any questions, and I'm sure you will, as you move forward, please feel free to reach out to your instructor, okay? And then never forget to book that first call with your instructor. You're still a little lost, but it's better now. Okay, Nicolene. It will get better and better. Okay. And you can always, like, during your first call with your instructor, you can always ask, like, hey, can you show me that again? And I'm sure that they will have that time for you. All righty then. Anyone else? What result percentage is considered at least good when taking the module quizzes? So we set 75% as our pass, but just like you guys, when you monitor your clients and look at vital signs, you look for trends, right? So I will say if you trend around in the 70s, you're in a safe zone, okay? If you can achieve 75 and higher, very good. But we'll look at averages. And so if you at least average 73%, you're at a high confidence in passing NCLEX. So shoot for that, 70 or higher, okay? You're welcome. Anyone else? By the way, I forgot to mention, and it's very important, Nurse Achieve does not work with Safari. So if you haven't opened Nurse Achieve yet, and you have Safari as your web browser, please consider using a different browser when you use Nurse Achieve. It works perfect with Chrome or Firefox, but not with Safari, unfortunately. And their email address, you have it right on when you receive that email from them, info@nurseachieve.com. If you have any issues with your access, feel free to reach out to them. They have a very responsive customer service. You're welcome, Griffin. All right, so I'm gonna end our webinar now, and I look forward to working with you guys. Bye. You're welcome, everyone.